Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and reading and notebooks and writing to make life better and to feel better too. You'll find episodes exploring the reading and writing life and how it can make our actual lives better. You'll get book recommendations and notebook invitations around particular themes, and you'll meet authors and special guests who'll help us take inspired action in our own daily practices. So, grab a notebook and your TBR list, and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your host, and I'm back with another episode on how reading and writing can make life better. Now, I am coming to you on a writing high. So this week, I was lucky enough to participate in the most wonderful virtual writing retreat. I work with an educational publisher called Choice Literacy. It is an amazing group of educator and educational leaders who just love writing about and sharing their practices. We spent a day and a half together, one very long day and a half a day together, with the intent of writing articles for this amazing community. Now, in that writing retreat, we wrote a lot. I actually wrote and completed 5 new articles, which for me, that is pretty good. I write all about what those articles were and who they might be for in my recent Substack, Weekly Literate Love Letter. So if you want to know more about them, just head to alitlife.substack.com. It'll be the first post that you see. But I wrote those 5 articles. I had multiple writing sessions with amazing writers. We read together, we wrote together, we connected, we celebrated, we shared writing pieces that we loved. It was just such a beautiful writing experience. And it reminded me that I love this kind of writing. I love writing about what I know and what my passions are and sharing it with other people. But I also just love writing. It got me reunited with my writing notebook in a more creative and fictional way. And I'm just really grateful for the time that I had to devote to my writing life. Now, once the retreat was over, as wonderful as that was, the next writing experience I had recently was just the icing on the cake. And that was my weekly meeting with my Writing to Heal writing circle. Now, if you follow me on social media or Substack, you know that I launched for the first time a 5-week writing circle on how expressive writing can heal chronic pain and other chronic symptoms. It was a chance to join in a supportive community to learn about how expressive writing can actually help any physical symptoms you have by way of your nervous system, to actually spend time writing together and then doing some soothing practices to make us feel really good and just connecting as a writing community. The last session we had just lit me up. The science behind it always, always amazes me about how much writing can bring to our lives that we might not yet fully understand. But then just the fact that you're writing in community with this shared energy, even through Zoom, you can feel it. So those 2 things alone, not to even mention the different kinds of reading that I had done, it just set me up to have such a beautiful mindset and a beautiful look at the power of writing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But not just the power of writing. We're going to talk about the healing power of words. Whether you are writing them or whether you are reading them, there is such beautiful science behind how and why reading and writing can help us feel better and help us change our life in whatever way we want it to. From the impact that reading and writing can have on our physical body to the ways that it can boost our mental health, I think that reading and writing is the underdog in the wellness space that we've all been waiting for. So today, I want to share 5 ways that the healing power of words through reading and writing can heal and make your life better. So if you are new here, this is going to be a really good introduction to the how and why of the work I do, how excited and passionate I get about it. And if you've been here for a while, this is another lovely reminder that we often still need as we head into a new season of the calendar or a new season of life. So let's get to it. 5 things to know about the healing power of words. Number 1, words through reading and writing can activate our parasympathetic nervous system. That is the nervous system we need to enter the rest and digest stage. That is the nervous system or the part of the nervous system we need to calm down, to de-stress, to recharge, and to regulate. And reading and writing can be the signal your parasympathetic nervous system needs to actually enter that more restful state. Now, how does it do it? Primarily, it is because of the nature of the physical act of reading and writing. Think about it. Whether we're reading the words or writing them, our eyes are moving from left to right and tracking the words on the page over and over and over again. Left, right, return, sweep. Left, right, return, sweep. Left, right, return, sweep. That action of our eyes actually lulls our body and lulls our parasympathetic nervous systems into a more relaxed state. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time, right? If you know me, you know I love sharing that you only need 6 minutes of reading in order to start to get those more relaxed benefits. When you are in that state, digestion's easier, your muscle tension goes away, your breathing rate slows, your muscles relax. And later, I'll even talk about what happens at a cellular and an immune level when you allow your nervous system to get to and stay in that state. So, the physical act of reading, of writing, kickstarts, maybe kickstarts isn't the great word because that sounds aggressive, invites us to get into a more relaxed parasympathetic nervous system state so that our body can start to soak in the goodness of what happens when we do that. Number 2, how can the healing power of words help? Well, of course, they boost our brain power. That is probably the most well-known impact of reading and writing. We get smarter. We learn more information. We figure out things about the world, about ourselves. We learn more words and get bigger vocabularies, right? That is a cognitive benefit that seems to be most well understood. But when we read and when we write, right, we are using our brain. We're thinking, we're using those cognitive skills. Those synapses are firing in big ways and in small ways. And when we do that, it helps keep our memory sharp, which means we retain more information. We think about things in different ways. We can even improve our learning by reading and then writing those things down. So reading and writing keeps our brain active. It also keeps the left part of the brain talking to the right part of the brain and vice versa, and strengthening those connections in multiple different directions. The third way that words can heal is by supporting our sleep. Yes, I said reading and writing can support your sleep. We know that good sleep hygiene is everything. Adults need, if you are lucky, I'm not lucky yet, but I'm working on it. If you are lucky, you are getting 8 wonderful sound hours of sleep. When you enter a sleep cycle, all sorts of good stuff happens to your body. Your body regenerates. It detoxifies, it clears things out, it gets ready for the kind of metabolic power that you need the next day. Good sleep matters. And reading and writing can actually facilitate that sleep. Why? Well, number 1, if you are reading and writing regularly, then you are in the habit of activating your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest system. If you are in a habit of activating that system more often than the other way, which is the fight or flight, then your body is automatically at a lower level of stress. And so easing into a restful night's sleep is a bit easier because your nervous system isn't so high off the charts because you've been building these restorative reading and writing practices into your day. Now, secondly, if you read and write at night, you are replacing a pad and a paper or a book with a blue screen, or you're replacing those screens. So let me start over. You don't have your face in front of an electronic device. If you are reading and writing instead, then you are not getting exposed to that blue light, which research and science has shown interferes with your ability to sleep, interferes with your ability to stay asleep and get into a restful cycle. And then thirdly, reading and writing takes you somewhere, right? So if you are reading and writing, especially at night, reading a book before you go to bed can help bridge the gap from the real world to the sleep world. It can help you get your mind off of stressors. It can take you to somewhere else that's a bit more enjoyable than perhaps the world you're living in, and it can lull you to sleep. In writing, if you are writing about the things that bother you, if you are putting your to-do list on paper to get it off of your mind before you go to bed, and especially if you start a gratitude practice, then that can just put your state of mind into a more easeful, restful space so that you can fall asleep. Now, what's the fourth way that words can heal? Well, we know, and research shows us, that reading and writing can regulate and improve your emotions. Now, in terms of reading, this comes down to the magic of mirror neurons, right? So when we read something, the mirror neurons in our brain fire as if they were happening to the characters in the books we were reading. Now, certainly not as with much intensity, but they are there. So if we are reading books that lift us up and make us happy and help us think differently, it's going to pave the way in our subconscious and in our nervous system to actually feel better. Now, in terms of writing, if we are working on expressive writing techniques where we are venting and saying Dear Diary and using our journal as a way to think through everything going on in our life, science shows that all of those stressors that you now put on the paper are lifted from the emotional reservoir in our nervous system so that it can help us feel lighter. It can help us feel better. So combined, reading and writing can help boost our happiness. It can help lessen our anxiety and even lessen depression. Now, last but not least, here is the fifth thing I want you to know about the healing power of words. Reading and writing can actually be good for your health. Yes, now indirectly, your health is going to be improved because you've activated your parasympathetic nervous system, strengthened your brain, got better sleep, and regulated and improved your emotions. So there is an indirect effect that combines all of those wonderful reasons to read and write I've just shared with you that can funnel into a more healthy lifestyle. But when we dive specifically into the area of writing, some really exciting things happen. The expressive writing that we put on the page can significantly help cope with depression because, again, we are unloading that overtaxed nervous system and emotional reservoir and allowing ourselves the space to be seen and heard and then move forward. But when we do that, when we write for at least 15 to 20 minutes for 3 consecutive sessions in a row, 3 days in a row, some amazing thing happen to our health markers. Our immunity goes up. Our inflammation goes down. And we know that inflammation is the root of all evil in our bodies. Studies have shown that it can improve our immune function, it can improve our liver function, and it can even reduce inflammation in conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and asthma. reading and writing truly has the power to heal. I want you to think of this episode as a permission slip. The permission slip you've been waiting for to dedicate more of your time to reading and writing. Your health and your wellness literally depends on it. And as we get going into this summer season, right, as you get going into perhaps a new season of life, it can be hard to make the transitions in our reading and writing lives too. They can get pushed to the side. You can get busy with other things. You can just fall out of the routine when things change. I hope that this episode reminds you of the power in indulging your own reading and writing life. It's not selfish. It's not a hobby. It is a beautiful tool for wellness. It is a tool to help you feel better, which means you can show up in your actual life a whole lot better as a result. Now, if you want to keep going with these ideas, if you want support for how to bring reading and writing into your life and think about which books to read and which prompts to write from, I invite you to come to my private community inside of Substack. We have bonus podcast episodes every week, and those episodes include beautiful book calendars with book recommendations around a theme to help make life better. There are writing prompts, live book club events, and so much more. You can also take a look at my courses and my writing circles. I have a restorative reading course, and the next cohort of the Writing to Heal writing circle will launch in the fall. So if you are on my email list, on my Substack newsletter, you will be the first to know when those are released. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, everyone. I hope this was the permission slip that you either wanted or needed in order to keep your reading and writing life going all summer long, or whatever season you happen to be in as you're listening to this episode. Thanks for listening, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned on the episode in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, bibliotherapy book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you'll get instant access to all of the previous content too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing, if you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a bookish friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and notebookish communities too. Thanks for listening.